friend of mine told me that life felt very tiring for her, and that it's just like you eat, you go to work, you sleep, you have conversations, and that's it. Very tiring, like meaningless, almost like unappealing. And I have to admit, I once felt the same, and what I tried to do was to find meaning in something that I did, in finding a direction I wanted my life to go to. But it was very hard to figure that out, because every time I would try something, I would very quickly lose interest, and so life would feel even more tiring, because it was this loop of, okay, you try to find meaning in something that you do or that you learn, but then you don't stick with it, and you end up in the same place as you were before. And so, I asked the person, and she said the same. And when I look back at what I did, was every time I felt interested in something, I would go online and search for solutions or help on that very topic. If I'm honest to myself, what I was really doing was only consuming content about that stuff, which would then give me kind of cheap dopamine and the illusion of having achieved that which I wanted to learn, or even if it was just to for a short time live in that reality, which was just online and not my real life. And so in reality, I was escaping from my own life, basically, by distraction, by not having to be bored anymore. And so why does life feel tiring? I feel like if we're no longer bored or having the ability to sit with our own thoughts and in silence, then of course it feels tiring, because it's not our own life. It's an escape, a distraction of reality, of our own lives. And we basically train our brains to react all the time. So how can we ever start acting and change what we feel unsatisfied about our own lives or about a situation? I started to really reflect on that back then. The solution to this was so ridiculously simple. Like, to reach your goal of kind of having a life that doesn't feel tiring, or even if it's just learning something new, something that you want to integrate into your life, to all of the goals you have is basically to do nothing. Like, the solution is to do nothing. Because in my experience, and when I look around or when I ask my friends, we don't have to be bored anymore. We don't have to do nothing anymore. We basically deactivated this default mode of our brains to just sit in silence and let some thoughts come up. Basically, when you're bored, it's an assessment of your current state. But if you don't have to do that anymore, because every time you have to wait for something, like for the lights to change when you want to cross the street, or when you ordered coffee and you have to wait for your order to arrive, or just anything, you don't have this quiet moment where thoughts of meaning can come up. And that's why maybe life feels super tiring, because it feels meaningless. Because every time those questions come up, we basically suppress them with reaching for our phones and the next distraction, because it's so easy and in reach. So if the answer really is to do nothing, how hard can it be, right? Well, I started this social media challenge where I would try and train my attention. I would just try to be more present in the moment. What I did was, I would go for walks without my phone, without listening to music. I would commute without listening to podcasts or anything on. And the hardest thing was actually to eat in silence, because usually I would just sit in front of the TV and watch something, even if it was educational. It was still a distraction, something to kind of distract myself from my own thoughts. To eat in silence actually helped me on my mission to lose weight. I've been on a fitness journey for the past 3-4 months or so, and it actually helped me with that too. But what it did was I realized like how boring it can be to eat. The phone just dropped. I realized just how normalized it became to always have something on, basically, to always listen to some piece of content. But then the question came up, why is it so painful to be bored, to have a moment of silence? The answer I came up with is because whenever we have this moment of silence, questions come up, questions about our lives. Like I said, it's sort of an assessment of your current state. And if then, it turns out you're very unsatisfied with your current situation or your life, and all those questions of, those bigger questions of meaning come up, it can be very uncomfortable. It sucks, and this doesn't feel good. And so since it's so easy to escape that moment, well, of course we reach for our phones or, find a way to escape this moment of boredom. But I ask myself, like, why is it so uncomfortable to ask these questions? So something has to be wrong. And if all I do is distract myself from it, the problem is not gonna solve itself. All I'm doing is just, putting it aside, trying to lock it up in this box, but then it's only gonna be even stronger. And so I did not want this to control my life, basically, because if I keep training myself with the phone as well to keep reacting, when I open it because I have a message, how can I then complain about being unhappy with my life, right? So what boredom actually does is it's this final push for you to change something. It cultivates action. But if you don't experience any moments of silence or boredom or spending time with your own thoughts, with yourself, first, you don't know what you really want because you don't spend enough time in your internal world to actually know. And second, you don't have a reason. Like, it almost feels too hard to make an actual change because it's so easy to just reach for the phone and distract yourself and escape the current uncomfortable moment. But it is just for a moment that this uncomfortable feeling is gone, because it will come back. And if we don't address it, we can never actually find peace in life, because it will keep coming back until we solve it, until we look at it. And so I'm a big fan of addressing the problem by its roots and kind of confronting it. So I had to be honest with myself about my social media consumption and phone consumption, how I use my phone and how it wasn't a tool anymore. It was just a source of distraction. So I tried this experiment of not commuting and listening to something or eating in silence, and I deleted all the social media apps from my phone. But the first thing was to put it on grayscale, make it less appealing. Actually, with small things like going to the gym without having my phone, or going for walks without my phone, realizing I don't need it all that much, waking up not checking my phone. Can you handle it? I thought wow, this is so easy, not checking the phone in the morning or eating in silence. But when I actually had to go do it and get used to it at first, it was pretty hard and uncomfortable. But the longer I did it, I saw the benefits of it, so I kept it up. What can I say? Life feels less tiring now. So as a recap, I think it's really, really important to have those small moments of silence and of boredom. It makes you more creative, and it's a check-in with yourself. It's not wrong to feel uncomfortable and to have uncomfortable questions come up in those moments of silence. It's actually a good thing. Then you know what screws to remove. It actually gives you data about what to change.